Hey, good morning, guys. It is February 7th, and it's a good study actually today. It's a little tricky to get past some of the language if you have the original classic edition that has all the original language of Chambers, because his language is a little tough sometimes. But he's talking about dejection, and at one point, some of his sentences are the like I said, the language is a little strange, but the context is Luke 24. Luke 24 was the empty tomb, and the women find the empty tomb. The 11 disciples, not sure how to believe them or what to think of it. They kind of Peter runs. He finds the tomb empty, and so they're all trying to wrestle with that and figure out what's happened. And then the road to Emmaus, Jesus appears, not revealing himself as Jesus, but he appears to a couple, not of the 11 disciples, but a couple other disciples. There were a lot, by the way. And, yeah, in case you ever get confused by like who all would have been included, like in the upper room, it was not just the 11; it was others. So anyway, a couple of his disciples, they walk with him, they talk with him, they tell him what has happened because he seems to be ignorant of all the things that have happened in the last few days. And Chambers kind of focuses in on Luke 24:21. But we trusted. Um, he actually says, let's see, I'm going to read the verse. It says, we had hoped, in NIV says, we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it's the third day. And so this idea of, and we've been waiting 3 whole days. Um, he died, and then we've been waiting 3 days, and we're just not sure what's happening, and this idea that we demand answers from God is kind of what Chambers is talking about. This idea of spiritual lust, he says in the first paragraph, makes me demand an answer from God instead of seeking God who gives the answer. Seeking God instead of the answer. Seeking God instead of the answer. It's how all our relationships are. We don't want to know just the information and just get answers from people. We want to know people. And so the same thing, God wants us to know him, to seek him. And so I love, he says, the meaning of prayer here in halfway down the first paragraph. The meaning of prayer is that we get hold of God, not of the answer. Not getting hold of answers, but getting hold of God. Dejection is a sign of sickness. And then in the last paragraph, he really kind of drills in to what human nature is like. We look for visions from heaven, for earthquakes, thunders of God's power. The fact that we are dejected proves that we do. The fact that we're dejected, the fact that we are kind of disappointed that God hasn't shown himself yet, it means that we're looking for the signs. We're looking for the stuff. Again, the stuff. And instead, it's like me desiring the meal my wife cooks, the laundry she does, all the things that she does for me without having a desire for her. And that's kind of, I think that's what Chambers is getting at here, is that we, instead of desiring God, which is John Piper's ministry, actually, desiring God. If you've never discovered that, it's a good one. It's Christian hedonism, that expression, that weird Christian hedonism, that concept of Christian hedonism. John Piper expounds on desiring God. So anyway, instead of desiring God, we're desiring the stuff, and we never dream that all the time God is in the commonplace things and the people around us. There was an example I gave the other day to somebody. It is on an AR-15. Sorry, shooting analogy here. On the top rail, you can mount a scope, and if you have a fixed front sight, that fixed front sight is right in the object view of the scope. So in view of the scope, you have a sight, and if it's a magnified scope, so you dial it into 6x, 9x, whatever, and when you look through it, that front sight is completely invisible, just disappears. And so here's what I would say: focus, turn up your magnification to the point where you're looking past the things that are close, and you're seeing way down range. You're seeing God in the distance, not in the distance, but you know what I mean. we're focused on the bigger things, on the target, as opposed to being focused on the thing that stands right in front of us. All the stuff that we can touch and hold and see and feel. Chambers would say, if we are dejected, if we feel disappointed or let down by God, it's because we're not focusing on the right thing. We are focused on the stuff. We're focused on all the feel-good stuff. And so, yeah, put your focus on God today, and see if and don't look for answers. Look for Him. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.